What's up guys, Vaunred1 here, and today I'm going to do a video going over my games of the year. This will include my game of the year, but I also have some other games I need to acknowledge because they either don't get the recognition they deserve, or they were really good in a certain aspect so they still deserve to be mentioned. So first off, I have to mention Titanfall 2. This game is honestly, in my opinion, underrated. I know it's got high ratings as far as the review sites and everything goes, but it didn't sell, which honestly, you can blame EA for that. They put it out right after Battlefield 1, or was it right before? I think it was right after, and then they put it right before Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So they pretty much sent this game out to die, and it's a damn shame they did because it's a really good game. It had a campaign, which most people thought was stupid. That was my main criticism of the first Titanfall. And they added a campaign in this game, and surprise, it was good. It was a little too short, but it was good. So, yeah, never underestimate a campaign. I still think they should be required for all games. So we got a good campaign, a fantastic multiplayer, good gameplay, and good graphics. Not amazing, but good. And I'm playing this on PC, so that's the footage you're watching right now. So to start off this whole thing, Titanfall 2 wins my best multiplayer award. And to be fair, the only other game that came close to competing with it is Battlefield 1. And Battlefield 1's multiplayer is fantastic, but at the same time, I don't know. It's Battlefield, I've come to expect it. Titanfall 2's multiplayer is literally the first Titanfall. And I have played it before, even though it was only on Xbox One and PC. I have played it before. I just had to go to a friend's house to play it. But whenever he was letting me play his Xbox, I'd be on Titanfall, because it was the only game that I really wanted to play. Battlefield 1 does with my consolation prize, if that's anything. It gets the second runner-up for sure, because the multiplayer is, in my opinion, way better than 4 ever was. I hated Battlefield 4 with a passion, gameplay-wise and graphics-wise. It wasn't really a big step up in terms of visuals. And the story was, like, honestly, the only thing about Battlefield 4 that I actually liked. Here, I found the story so far. I haven't beat all the missions yet. I found it to be good so far. I did the one with the tank first. That one was really good. And the multiplayer is fantastic. It feels like Battlefield. I mean, it still doesn't feel as good as 3, but I mean, 3 was modern. This is World War I, so I expect that difference. And the visuals are definitely groundbreaking. Even on PS4, the game looks amazing. Here on PC, with it maxed out, looks beautiful. Looks absolutely gorgeous. And I'm running it no problem, so it's easy to max this game out so you can take full advantage of it. So, Battlefield 1 gets my second runner-up. I mean, I definitely recommend both these games, but if I had to recommend one over the other, I would recommend Titanfall 2 over this game, just because it's more of like a surprise hit. Like, people know Battlefield's going to be a good game. Titanfall, the first one, was okay to averaged okay. People thought it was cool. It was cool, but this second one is amazing. The campaign was great. I'm going to beat it again probably when I have free time, and it won't take me that long to beat it. I actually beat the campaign using the mouse all the way through, so that was my first game to do that on. And Battlefield 1 is really good, and both of these games have control support for multiplayer for both. I use the controller, and I'm still dominating people, so also good on that regard. But yeah, Titanfall 2 is my multiplayer game of the year, and Battlefield 1 gets second runner-up. Uncharted 4 is not on that list because Uncharted 4's multiplayer, while not horrible like Uncharted 3's, is still not even close to the same quality as these two games from EA. That leads me to my next award category, Best Graphics. Now, it will be easy for me to just give this to Uncharted 4 because of how good it looks on the PS4. The campaign in that game was beautiful. But I'm going to have to give it to Battlefield 1 because Uncharted 4 is a linear game. There are areas of the game that are kind of wide open and offer a few different paths, but Battlefield 1, if you play a game of Conquest, the map is huge. And the graphics don't take a hit because of it. The graphics in Battlefield 1 are amazing. Once again, even on console, I played the beta, which was only running 900p, and I still was impressed by the graphics. If I were to go back to it now, I would still find it pleasing to the eye, even though I've played it maxed out on PC. And it does all that while running at 60 frames. So Uncharted 4 can hold the L for that because it's only 1080p 30, and it looks amazing. But Battlefield 1 is 900p 60 and looks breathtaking. So I'm gonna have to give best graphics to Battlefield 1. Naughty Dog. Don't worry though. When it comes to PS4, I'd probably still have to give it to Battlefield. It just looks better. Like maybe it's because of the frame rate making the image smoother as you move as it's in motion. But even Uncharted 4, I mean, the multiplayer runs 900p 60, and that looks like a cartoon compared to Battlefield 1. So Battlefield 1 takes this category. That's all I have to say about that. Runner-up for that probably would be Uncharted 4. So at least there's that, because like I said, Uncharted 4 looks amazing. There are certain parts of that game that are like some of the best I've ever seen in a game. But I think for what Battlefield does and for how big it is, the fact that it even comes close and surpasses it in many areas is worthy of itself right there for the award. So yeah, Battlefield 1 wins this one hands down. My next award is for most well-optimized game. Now I could give this to any of these games that I've played on PC, but that would be unfair because I have a 1070. So even if something is hard to run, I wouldn't really be able to tell. So far the hardest game to run has been Batman Arkham Knight, but I still get over 60 frames on that. So for my most well-optimized game this year, I'd have to go with Doom, because it's not even only from my experience, from what I've seen of the game at friends' houses as well, because I only have a 1080p display. So I'm maxing the game out, like, no problem. And at my friend's house, he has the the base 1070, the one NVIDIA themselves make. He has that card, and he was able to play this game at 1440p, 120 hertz with everything maxed out. Turn a few things off, you can get to that 144 because he has the Dell monitor. Then at 4K, we were able to get 4K like 49 to 53 frames with everything turned up. We were actually with everything turned up to max, we were getting around like 44 frames. Now when you think about that though, 4K max settings, 44 frames with a 1070. That is very, very impressive. And then if you want the 144, just put it, you can easily run that at 1440p and get the 144 hertz with a 1070. Just turn a few things down, turn off like the AA and certain, and like it's like maybe 2 times. It's just, the game runs fantastic. The game is the most optimized game. Now the reason I don't have gameplay in this video is because, well, one of the downsides of Doom is it runs on the OpenGL, so I can't really record it with OBS, I can't record it with Shadowplay, and I don't have Fraps. So right now I don't know how to record the game. I'm about to just do OBS screen record, but I wasn't about to experiment with it just yet, so hopefully I can fix that. I can actually probably do some videos of the arcade mode, because since I've beaten the campaign. So Doom gets the most well-optimized game award. The game was fantastic, and it ran beautifully the whole time. Never dropped below 60 frames. Granted, I had to have on the adaptive VSync, so it was kind of slower than it's supposed to be, because I've been playing all my games with fast sync, NVIDIA fast sync. So that means you don't have to turn on anti-aliasing. You don't have to turn on VSync in the game, because NVIDIA themselves sets the game up to complete the frame without it having to take away as much latency. Without it taking too much latency. So like, for example, VSync, it slows up the game, like your response isn't as responsive. Fast sync, you're still very responsive while giving you the effects of VSync. So Doom doesn't support that. I don't know why Bethesda chose like OpenGL and not made it compatible with Shadowplay or NVIDIA's settings in general. But anyway, the game is still well optimized and gets my award for most well optimized game. And now for the biggest award of all, my Game of the Year 2016. Of all the games I've played this year, this has been a great year for games. We had games like Doom, we had games like Titanfall 2, Ratchet Clank, but then we had Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Now it might be biased for me to say this, but I've had real life benefits from this game. Like, I've made friends from this game. I've sunk tons of hours into this franchise in general. And When a franchise is so revered and you like it so much, you become its biggest critic. Uncharted 3 was, in my opinion, the worst game from Naughty Dog. It was definitely the worst Uncharted, so far that I even enjoyed Golden Abyss on the Vita more than Uncharted 3. The game just didn't feel right. Uncharted 4 fixed that problem. It still didn't feel like as right as the first two, but it still felt way better than 3, to the point where I was actually enjoying the game halfway through. Because Uncharted 3, I was starting to hate the game halfway through my first playthrough. Uncharted 4, I didn't have that problem. Uncharted 4 was fantastic. On top of the graphics I mentioned earlier, it's still amazing, especially when you consider the platform it's on. The story was top-notch. Definitely the best story in the series. It passes 2s as far as the story goes. I still kind of like 2 overall more, but the story here was fantastic. The length of the game was great. The characters were great. Even though Sam was a newcomer, I still think, I could have hated him more. I mean, I don't hate Sam, but I feel like they shouldn't have introduced a new character for the last game in the series. The gameplay was great. The melee combat was simplified a little too much for my liking, but it was still fun to fight in the game. Gunplay was great. Overall responsiveness of the controls, even though it was running at 30 frames in the campaign, was very good, very challenging on crushing, and overall an ending that I think kind of fits the series and was a good send-off to it, and these characters that we love so much. And then the multiplayer, as much as I can trash this multiplayer and talk shit about it all day, I have to admit, it's still better than Uncharted 3's multiplayer. Uncharted 3's multiplayer was terrible. Horrible. The worst thing I've ever seen from a first-party Sony dev. That multiplayer was terrible. This game, they fixed some of the problems. It's not as unbalanced. It does rely more on gun skills and perks and boosters and all this. So, that's why I still play it. And they've added survival to it, which is all free. All the DLC we've received so far has been free. Even though you have to, like, pay for some things if you want them then and there. You can still just take your time and earn things legit through just playing the game, doing challenges, completing matches, etc. So, the multiplayer isn't bad. I can't call the multiplayer bad. I can say it's disappointing in some aspects, but not bad. So, you got an overall full package, a game actually worth $60 in my opinion. And overall, just one of Naughty Dog's best games. Only surpassed, in my opinion, by The Last of Us. So, yeah, Uncharted 4 wins Game of the Year for me this year. I mean, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, of course you gave it to Uncharted 4, nothing else. But you gotta understand, I also wrote down my 3 follow-up games. Number 2 was Doom. Doom was a great game. Once again, the visuals were great. The story was very, very simplistic, but for a game like that, that's what you expect. And the combat was fantastic. The gameplay in Doom is why it's my number 2. The gameplay is satisfying as hell. Literally as hell. From all the weapons to the grotesque finisher moves you can do by clicking the R3 stick. Oh man. The customization. And the multiplayer, which in my opinion doesn't get that much love. People hate the multiplayer, which it's literally the campaign with people. I guess they wanted something more, I don't know. So Doom gets my number 2, and it runs great. So yeah, Doom is definitely worth a pickup. Especially right now, the time of this on video, I think it's like $19 on Steam. You better pick it up at that price. Number 3 is Titanfall 2, because of how surprising it was to me. I got a great campaign that I actually want to go back and play again, and makes me excited for a future game, which I hope the game sells well enough to get. We have the great multiplayer, which, I mean, it's not that much different from the first one. They've just added a few things, but still, Titanfall 1's multiplayer was solid. They've improved mechanics and added some, so even better. And then, number 4 is Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank was a good game because Insomniac has been slipping when it comes to these Ratchet games recently. The last good game they made, in my opinion, was A Crack in Time. All for One was trash. Full Frontal Assault was the worst game in the series. Facts. That was the worst Ratchet & Clank game in the series. Then you look at, what was the last one? Into the Nexus. Not bad, but still below quality. Like, the Future series was running at 60 frames and looked better than this, when Into the Nexus was running at 30 frames and didn't look that well. So, this game was a true surprise. We had a good story. I mean, it's a reimagining of the first game. So the story was there. They just had to add some new things to it. Good gameplay, a good story, and the visuals were like literally only second to Pixar. Like the game's graphics were truly amazing. Sometimes even jaw-inspiring. Like I literally dropped my jaw a few times at how good the game looked. I was like, wow, this game really looks this good. And then like on top of that, it's playable. Like, and the motion blur they've had, it's kind of heavy, but that kind of makes it look like 60, even though you can tell it's 30. But I mean, it's still playable. It's still very fun. I got the platinum in that. Got the platinum in Uncharted 4 as well. So the game just, yeah, Ratchet and Clank is amazing. And they're practically giving this game away. So if you don't have it when you have a PS4, you need to go out and buy it immediately. Like it was $40 when it came out. It's dropped down to like $20, I think, as of late. And now you can get it like randomly on sale for $10. I mean, at $10, there's no other game you can buy better than this at $10. So please go out and buy Ratchet & Clank. Buy all these games on my Game of the Year. Buy Uncharted 4, buy Doom, buy Titanfall 2. That one especially. Buy Titanfall 2, please, because they're saying this game was a flop, and it kind of was. Please go out and buy Titanfall 2 and Ratchet & Clank. Buy all those games. I'm going to put the priority on Titanfall 2, though, because that game was actually a flop. The rest of them all sold fine. I think Ratchet & Clank sold like over 1 million already, so fine. But yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Hope you guys enjoyed my video. Let me know what your games of the year down below are. What's your worst game of the year? Because that would easily go to No Man's Sky. But let me know what your worst game of the year is down below, along with your other games of the year. So yeah, on that note, I'm out. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe to that One Nation under PC and PlayStation. And I'll see you guys in the new year. And since I'm not going to make a video probably until next year, Merry Christmas, I missed it. Happy New Year. And I wish you all the best of luck next year, because this year was terrible. Not in terms of game, just in terms of everything else that happened. So yeah, peace.